In a short while, I'll be finishing my term in Dadaab after 3 years. And I leave Dadaab knowing that Dadaab is a land of opportunities. Dadaab can change, and Dadaab is an ecosystem that can empower, genuinely empower the refugees as well as the members of the host community. The question is how we do it. And I think the SHIRIKA as a policy creates that pathway from care and maintenance to social and economic inclusion, from staying in camps to staying in integrated communities. The establishment of the municipality creates that foundation of governance, of joint planning, and the mental transformation of Dadaab not being looked at as a refugee operation, but as an area where we need to invest, we need to develop the infrastructure to provide the different opportunities for the people. Now, going back from when I came, of course, for the past 34, 35 years, attention has been on saving lives, on providing the basic needs for the refugees with the hope that they would be able to return. When you talk about the Dadaab, majority of them are from Somalia. So there was that hope that there would be peace in Somalia. The people who were forced to flee would be able to return to their homes and partake or restart their lives. But time has shown that that's not possible. Unfortunately, the number of resettlement opportunities that go into the third countries are decreasing. There's less appetite to receive refugees from the global south in this context compared to previously. So we need to find solutions where they are. And the solution for Kenya is in Kenya. And how can we do that? It's to make them part and parcel of the civic life, part and parcel of the community, while also helping the community. We call it not leaving behind, helping the community also enjoy the benefits of having been gracious to host refugees. This is about human capital development, it's about infrastructure development, it's about economic development, and changing the thinking from depending on donors to looking at what opportunities that the diaspora can do, what opportunities the private capital can do in terms of investment and bringing services together. So I leave Dadaab at a very critical time, at a time when we have to sustain the lives of the refugees, making sure they continue having access to quality services, whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it's social protection, but at the same time, creating that pathway now to full economic empowerment, full social and economic inclusion. And this has to go concurrently. That means we have to invest in building systems while sustaining lives. How do we do that? We need a whole society approach whereby the different stakeholders, from the traditional donors, from the international financial institutions, from the World Bank, from the different stakeholders, they can come and be present. We look at it as a community. How can we develop this community in northeastern Kenya? How can we bring opportunities to this to this community? How can we harness the potential? The number of youth is very high. So how can we make the youth active? How can we partner with the youth so that they reach their full potential, whether economically, whether it's through education or socially, and participate in the change. The change. How do we change the mindset? The mindset from waiting to be given to creating. It's already happening in many ways. The mindset from waiting to be told to being at the table, discussing and making decisions together. And looking at the future, how do we support the younger generation of today so that they have the capability and the ability to take over the governance, to take over the management of their communities, and to take over the leadership roles that are bestowed on them by the community. How can we transform the culture of life? This is an area that depends a lot on livestock. How can we ensure that we work with all partners, especially the communities, to create that livestock value chain, whereby it's not only the meat, but what do we get from all different parts of the animal, from the hides, tannery, and we could go on and on and on. How do we create industries? For example, the water management industry. Dadaab has got a very huge, rich ecosystem. Waste management is an opportunity. How do we manage our waste, both the solid and liquid waste? So there are a lot of opportunities, but now how do we use the presence of the refugees as a catalyst, but bring up the whole community? And I think these are questions that are beyond William, they are beyond UNHCR, but they are not beyond all of us. And I always give the example, that it's just like your own children. When you start planning for the future of your children, what opportunities would you give them? Which kindergartens should they go to? Which secondary school should they go to? Which universities? Which health facilities should they attend? How can you save? Or how can you work within the living social structure to provide for them or to create opportunities for them? Some opportunities are not created by the parents. They are created by the systems that have been set up. So the thinking is not new, but linking it to refugee presence, I think that's the change in mindset, and also working with the host community to stop depending on the humanitarian system, but contributing to economic development change within their own communities, and looking at refugees as partners in development and not necessarily as competitors for resources. It's a difficult question. I cannot say what's my biggest achievement. What I can say, what have we achieved, both as an operation, but also being part of the wider Kenyan operation. I think are the elements that we are discussing now. We are talking about transformation of the refugee management system, the SHIRIKA. That's an achievement for all of us as an operation. We are talking about area-based development. We have got the GISDEP, that's the Garissa Integrated Social and Economic Development Plan, that pays attention to using refugees as a catalyst, the presence of refugees as a catalyst for area development. That's an achievement, not my achievement, it's our achievement. The gradual change of mindset, that's an achievement. But I think the most important thing is the past year or so, we have gone through a very drastic changing financial or funding ecosystem. We have been responsible for more than 400,000 refugees. The fact that we are able to continue to provide for the basic services, from health, we have got 4 hospitals, including the construction through the EU funding of a mega level 5 hospital. We have ensured that kids have gone to school. We have assured the elements of protection, continue to have systems to prevent gender-based violence in certain instances, ensured access to justice, the justice system, ensured that the child protection mechanism do not crumble. That, to me, is the success. Not the success of UNHCR, but the success of the structure in Dadaab. Because it was quick, it was drastic, we lost a lot of money, some activities were impacted, we lost a number of staff, but we have money to continue, even at the basic level, providing these services. Now the question is, how do we stand up and move to the same level? And that's the direction that SHIRIKA is telling us. Let's enjoin the national systems. Let's make sure that the protection is through existing national systems, but ensuring that, one, in the context of host community, no one is left behind. In the context of the refugees, they do not become more vulnerable. So how do we do that? I call that, or we call that these days, protection with solutions. How do you provide protection, safety, but ensure that there are solutions so that we don't have to wait for 34 years and come back with a different SHIRIKA plan. But we wait for 10 years and say, this is what the refugees, or this is what the Dadaab municipality inhabitants have done for themselves with services available. There's connectivity through a road infrastructure, and I could go on and on. So to rephrase your question, what have I learned? It's not about challenges, but Dadaab is a very interesting class. It's just like a university of its own, because you deal with the dynamics, the political dynamics, you deal with the community dynamics, at times the tensions between the community and the refugees, the sharing of resources, how the resources should be shared, the different claims, whether pro or con, or whether justified or not justified. So the fact that you are able to coordinate, you are able to work with the different stakeholders, different interests, is an achievement of itself. Is a success in terms of how do you learn and manage an operation. As a head of sub-office, I don't only manage UNHCR. I'm also the area security coordinator, which is beyond the Dadaab and goes all the way to Marsabit and the whole of northeastern Kenya plus Lamu. But being UNHCR and the highest level UN official, have oversight over the refugee operation. So in terms of guidance, strategic guidance, making sure that there is not only coordination, but there is collaboration in different aspects. That's something I think is an achievement for all of us. It was not easy, of course. At times we agree to disagree, but we have always put at the center that it is about the refugees. It's about the people. That's the lesson I'll take. UNHCR historically, and even if you look at its strategic directions and the different protection strategies, whether global or specific, context specific, as always and will always prioritize people with specific needs, or at times I call it people with special needs. We pay more attention. We make sure that we facilitate access to protection, social and economic rights. And at times people don't like the word I use. To me, it's important to mainstream the protection of people with specific needs or special needs in all of that what we do. That means they must be part and parcel of our planning. They must be in the decision-making process. They must be participants. They must be able to feel and enjoy the same opportunities. Of course, in an ecosystem of more than 400,000 refugees, there is an element of sort of forgetting or not really remembering that you've got some specific needs that needs to be addressed. It can be through translation, if it's about sign language. It can be through how to facilitate access to public areas for the blind. It can be about people living with specific diseases like HIV. It can be about people who have got physical disabilities in terms of accessing our facilities or accessing the hospitals and so on. One thing is very important. In planning, we shouldn't see them as different. We should see them as members of the community that need special attention so that they can be facilitated to access the different services. It's a little bit emotional and it's very difficult to explain because it's when you move in the camps, when you move to the different facility, the camps were not really established and really take into consideration, for example, how someone in a wheelchair can move from Hagadera to Ifo1. But I think I would like to think that it was because of the temporary nature, but these are things now that as we talk about planning integrated settlements, it should be automatic. As we talk about planning access to opportunities, it should be automatic. If we talk about accessing the level 4 hospital, accessing health and so on, these are the things that should be automatic, but not only through them accessing, but for them being part and part of the process of planning and decision making and monitoring. Because if they are part of the planning process, they will tell you what will be the specific needs, what we should look at. So it's an integral way of handling these specific needs by having them on the table as equal partners and so on. The way we say that when it comes to overall refugees, we need the refugees at the table, discussing and helping us understand and helping us make joint decisions, creating ownership, but also accountability, responsibility, and transparency.